So I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Harris and really encourage everyone to know that many of our businesses are open and that they can be frequented if we adhere to the safety measures. Thank you. Mayor Harris.
All right. Pleased to be back here again. I continue to talk about ways we can support and help the most vulnerable groups in our community, those that are the hardest hit by COVID-19. And today we want to talk about our at-home learners who have really borne the brunt of the COVID pandemic in a whole lot of ways. And we have some special guests to introduce here. And this should only take just a few minutes. So pleased to announce this latest program to help our virtual learners, and it is called 901 Student Passport. Information can be found at 901studentpassport.com. And this program acknowledges the fact that in this COVID era, our at-home learners are not able to partake in the usual field trips. There are no buses being run. There are no carpools, or carpools are discouraged, but we still want to make sure our students get exposure and get experiences even during this era of COVID and even while they may be virtual learners. And so 901 Student Passport creates an opportunity for free admission to some of our community's most cherished assets. We have several of our partners here to talk a little bit for a minute, no more than 2, about their programs and how they're navigating the COVID environment to provide a very safe experience for students and virtual learners. So at this time, I'd like to invite the first program participant to the podium, the Fire Museum, which again, all of these programs will provide free admission to our student learners during the pandemic. So the Fire Museum, if Kim would approach the podium. Come on, Kim, where's Kim? There she is, there she is, there we go.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. We appreciate this program more than you can imagine. At the Fire Museum, we see a couple of thousand, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 students every year that we teach fire safety to. The students can come into the museum and learn how and when to dial 911, how to get out of a structure fire safely, and how to basically stop, drop, and roll, and all of the safe things they need to stay safe. But the most important thing they learn is how and when to call 911. So we are so excited that we're going to have kids back in the museum and that we'll be able to teach them these life and safety rules.
The next museum is the Memphis Rock and Soul Museum.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. In most regions around the country, music falls under arts and culture. And we know here in Shelby County, it goes much more in depth than that. It's part of our history, it's part of our background, it's part of really who we are as people, and we want students to celebrate that. The Rock and Soul Museum's exhibit, which was developed by the Smithsonian Institution, introduces our students to a lot of other students, students like Isaac Hayes and Jimmy Lunsford, who came out of Manassas, or Alex Chilton that came out of Central, of course, Maurice White, David Porter out of Booker T. Washington, so many others that provide for our students a great example of how to change the world the same way that they have changed the world through their music. So we appreciate Mayor Harris. We appreciate the opportunity to have these students back in the museum and to encourage them not just to learn from these other musicians, but to experiment with their own creativity and energy and to change the world themselves. Thank you, Mayor Harris.
All right, at this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium the Slave Haven Underground Railroad Museum.
Thank you, Mayor Harris, and others in your administration for making these tours available to the students in the Shelby County schools and making Slave Haven Underground Railroad Museum a part of this endeavor. There's always been a lot of fascination and mystery surrounding the Underground Railroad and its secret operations known as the first civil rights movement in America. Slave Haven Underground Railroad Museum located right here in our own city, was one of those secret locations where enslaved Africans sought refuge on their journey to freedom. We believe that the students from Shelby County Schools will be intrigued when they visit the museum and learn invaluable lessons of courage and perseverance that will impact their lives. They will experience a history lesson that they will remember for years to come. So Memphis is fortunate to have such a unique treasure in our city where students can come and get an up-close look into history and walk in the footsteps of those who came before them. We look forward to being a part of their learning experience and with their parents. And so thank you again, Mayor Harris, for this opportunity, and we expect to have hundreds, even thousands of students to come to us.
Well, thank you, and the free admission lasts at least through the end of the year. Lichterman Nature Center, welcome.
Hi, I'm Kevin Thompson, the Executive Director of what we're now calling Museum of Science and History, which encompasses both Lichterman Nature Center and the Pink Palace. And Mayor, we're just delighted to be a part of this program. Thank you very much. We serve over 130,000 kids annually, sometimes up to 140,000. So this has been a dramatic change for us with COVID and the lack of field trips. We all have that teacher, though, that taught us the foundation through, school and book learning. But we provide that experiential and that tangential learning experience for students. And that's what gives us the vision, that's what gives us the inspiration to go into a career or a field or just to learn something more about a topic. And that's what we're all about, whether it's history and culture at Pink Palace or science, or nature and outdoors at Lichterman Nature Center. So please take advantage of this program and come out and see us. We are delighted to host and very much looking forward to this program. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium the Dixon Garden Gallery.
Well, I'd just like to echo my colleagues in thanking Mayor Harris and his staff for recognizing the importance of the arts in the lives of Memphis students, Shelby County School students, and more importantly, doing something really meaningful about that. And the Dixon has a long history of participation and collaboration with Shelby County Schools. We founded Art to Grow 20 years ago, a mobile outreach program that delivers and students every discoveries our reach thousands of students every year. And to tell you about our free, not just a science teacher, has Shelby County students to and their families. We'll ask them to wear their masks, ask them to social distance, and ask them to have a great time as they enjoy the wonderful experiences that are to be had at the Dixon Gallery and Gardens. Thank you very much.
Very good. And our final presenter, the Memphis Brooks Museum of Art.
And I think the National Civil Rights Museum might be joining in as well. But hello, everyone out there. I'm Emily Neff. I'm the Executive Director at the Memphis Brooks Museum of Art. We are so very grateful to Shelby County Mayor Harris and Chief Inez for offering this opportunity of sort of shedding light on all of the great cultural assets we have in our community and matching that with the students in Memphis and the region. We really hope you'll come visit us at the Memphis Brooks Museum of Art. We are the city's art museum. We have more than 10,000 artworks spanning 5,000 years of human creativity, spanning just about every continent except for Antarctica. So we truly do provide a passport to the world for all of you. So I would also add that, as we like to say, that multiculturalism is a part of our DNA, and we are a great place in which to encounter world cultures and learn about a multiplicity of perspectives. I think all of us here, we are keenly aware of what art does for everyone. It educates, it enriches, it inspires, it heals. It's a form of wellness, and we all need that right now. I think we'll agree with that. And it sparks creativity as well as critical thinking. And we know from scientific studies that great art experiences develop the whole child. And so in terms of this very challenging period in which we are all living, in which many people are in isolation and quarantine, experiencing school remotely, this sort of very fractured political environment that we are in, just remember that art museums help to develop the whole child. So this is a great time to come visit all of these cultural assets. Thank you again, Mayor Harris, for opening the doors to everyone in our community.
All right, and I misspoke. Actually, our last presenter is our National Civil Rights Museum and the extraordinary Terry Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. Thank you especially for including the National Civil Rights Museum in this project. About 75,000 students are a part of our annual visitorship at the museum. And for me, one of the saddest parts of this particular pandemic is that we have not been seeing the yellow school buses outside of the museum. So we are thrilled that we are included. You know, right now at this moment when we see civil unrest occurring in our communities across the country, is a really good time for young people and their parents and guardians to learn about the history of the civil rights movement, and for young people to know that no movement has ever started without young people being involved. So we welcome you to the National Civil Rights Museum. We look forward to you coming to visit, and again, thank you, Mayor Harris, for including us.
So thanks very much to all our partner museums. Thanks to the City of Memphis, which is partnering and making the City of Memphis libraries one of the locations where you can pick up your own passport. If you are a student or virtual learner, come to one of the libraries to pick up a passport, or go online at 901 Student Passport to print off your passport. If you visit all these museums and get a passport stamp from all these museums, you'll be enriched. But in addition to that, we'll send you a very, very special gift for visiting all of these museums. So thanks very much again to the partners, and we're hopeful that lots of our students will take advantage, because arts, history, and culture is so important. Thank you. That's it.